get drip with it, let's sick hit it. I said minute, I'll admit it any minute. I went ape shit, .08 kid. Cost basis had them looking for the matrix, but it ain't there though. Nah, it ain't there though. Just me, myself, and Genie polishing the ground flow. Bagging unknown, then the court knows. Good slapping vibes, how that month go. Blue beams banging, pot of gold waiting. Data at rest, but the DM's never patient. Try to put a deal together on a one-way street. Tell them
All right,
I'm
we're
not
back.
selling,
Episode
baby.
2, Never Fade, the NFT podcast. Let's get it. Let's get it. First off, I just want to quickly, do what I need to do here and take an early L. We introduced the game last week. GMI or NGMI, gonna make it or not gonna make it. And another thing I said on the pod last week was, in this game, you got to take your L's like a champion. So I'm here to take my first L. Sometimes it's best to just take these L's quickly. Just get them out of the way.
Stamp the L on the jaw, FaXx. Stamp the L on the jaw.
Let's go. Just, I'm going to man up. I'm going to take it. I gave Azuki the NGMI. I'm still stuck on this Zagabond FUD. I can't get around it. Other people can get around it. But let's just recap here what happened. They sold some golden skateboards. 8 of them, for millions of dollars. Millions of dollars.
2.5.
Goodmonth, my guy. Did you see this?
Fierce. It was ferocious. And that's exactly what I said when I said GMI, that the community is ferocious and that it wasn't gonna fade, which is why I got him with the GMI stamp. And I know you had a great take. You said that when OpenSea delisted Azuki, you said that it was gonna cause problems. You said the Zagabond FUD was not gonna go away. And you're right? It's on the tip of everyone's tongue, except for who? The community. And they sent it.
Yes, it was like a big flex, led by Spirit DAO and Dingalin. Just unbelievable, man. 309 ETH bids. Look, we're in a bear market. ETH may be up today. We might be feeling bullish today. But the reality is a lot of projects are hurting. A lot of projects are running out of runway. Even like I heard Frank D. Gods a couple times now. This is on Mind, right? This is one of the most successful projects, the most successful project on Solana. And he pretty much, I think, held his Solana bag that he made and let it run down. I feel like he's pinched for money. So even the biggest projects are feeling it right now in the bear market. But when you're Azuki and you can just drop 8 skateboards and the whales in your community come to play and drop it like it's hot, $2.5 million, 8 skateboards, they're going to fucking make it. I'm taking my L, dude. I'm taking my L. They're going to make it. Forget all that talk about Zagabond. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. This guy's going to make it, and they're flexing their ETH. They got bags. But let me ask you this. The other piece that came across here is this PBT, physically backed token. They're talking about, security and merch and all of this. And I think you got takes on this. You got takes on PBT. What do you know about this? Can you break this down for us a little bit?
I mean, let's take the auction. Let's break the auction down real quick. It sent it, right? 2.5 M's USD fiat in the bag for Azuki. The gold-plated skateboard, let's be real, that's a nice touch. But there was news going around about, the most expensive skateboard sold, the most expensive type of skateboard sold, the fact that there's precious metals on the skateboard. It had nothing to do with the skateboards. It had nothing to do with the gold. It had everything to do with a trait in the Azuki art coming to real life in small supply, backed with novel technology. That's what it was. This skateboard was bought for the history. This was a historic protocol purchase. People want the skateboard so that they can scan and get their NFT. Now, I'm not going to fade them for this. This is cool. I will say it does not have the innovation behind it that it appears to have. That's what I will say. The PBT protocol isn't too much different than other type of supply chain protocols that have been put out there, like VeChain and stuff like that. So I'm not going to give them a W on the PBT protocol. I am going to give them a W on the package. They took a NFT collection. They have a trait of a skateboard. They extracted that skateboard out of their collection. They made it physical. They went the extra mile to plate it gold, and they brought a protocol to it. Now, everything, that sequence that got put together was a big deal. And it probably is the marketing boost that it needs for it to be more of a common thing. Now, I think I'm not going to fade the entire play here. I do think the interaction with the protocol might be a little short-sighted, but I'm not going to fade it. My one take is there is an opportunity to allow people who purchase a physical item and scan it and own a NFT. There is the ability and there's the ability and opportunity to allow that NFT to hold the power rather than the physical product. And what I mean by that is that those skateboards get sold. Now say they get stolen and you are stuck holding the NFT. The stolen skateboard is gone. It's a hot skateboard now. It doesn't have the authentication of the NFT. Now, you need the ability as someone who owns that NFT to basically mint a new physical collectible. That's what you got.
Another gold skate. We got to be able to ship another gold skateboard.
You got to be able to ship another gold skateboard. You got.
Otherwise, you're sitting there with like an NFT reminding you of this like $1 million skateboard that got jacked, and you're just there's nothing else there but an NFT. And so you're saying if you're gonna pair the NFT with a physical item, that should involve a protocol where you can redeem a replacement item. But can you redeem a replacement? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's a scarce item. It's a collectible item. It could be a one-of-one item. So I'm kind of not following your logic there.
Well, but that's the power of having an NFT tied to that physical item, is that as long as you have that NFT alongside the physical item, that's the authenticated item. That's the true item. Whether it's serial 1 or serial 10, as long as you have the original NFT on chain tied to that physical item, that becomes the new physical item. Like, let's take this back to the Mona Lisa, right? One of the things about the Mona Lisa, it got its fame because it got stolen. It got its fame because it was a hot item. No one gave a rat's you know what about the Mona Lisa before it got hype of it being stolen. Now, we don't know if the Mona Lisa that is in the Louvre today is the original Mona Lisa. We don't know that. But we authenticate it with its presence in the Louvre as the original. We authenticate it with the security of the Louvre as its insurance. We authenticate it with those items. But it could be serial number 2, serial number 3, but it's authenticated by what we know it to be true.
So the authentication of the security of the Louvre is what has us believing that the Mona Lisa is in fact the original. So when you take that concept to collectibles, are we saying then that in order to resell a collectible that you would have to package with it the authenticated NFT?
FaXx.
Interesting. So what about that stolen item then?
It's hot. It's hot, and it will have a market, right? There's a market for knockoffs. There's a market for hot items, and it might even on the underground be more desirable, specifically if culture's wrapped around it. I don't know. But there's always going to be the argument that it's not authenticated. Think about CryptoPunks. They always have the argument as a punk owner, as a owner of a piece of that collection, you always have that provenance of it being dated in history. Arguably not the first. There's other firsts out there, but it was the first of its kind. And yeah.
Yeah. So this PBT, right, it's essentially an EIP, an Ethereum improvement uh, proposal, right? And so essentially, even though it was brought out by the Azuki team, which is bullish because they're being, creative and they're building and they're pushing the boundaries here. You're saying that the PBT is really not that innovative, but ultimately it still needs to become kind of like embraced and approved by the Ethereum community. Do I have that understood correctly? Like there needs to be a process by which people weigh in and they, add to this proposal, comment to the proposal. And you're saying if you were going to comment on it, you would want to see that there be a function to be able to, somehow fit in there like redeeming replacement. Can you talk to that from like a tech standpoint a little bit with this mindset?
Yeah, like I think that there needs to be an ability, and we don't have this ability today as a function of Ethereum, but there needs to be an ability where owning an NFT actually gives you limited right access. It gives you limited right access to increase the supply, to mint another. Now, as an issuer of this specific collectible, right? There's things that you have to have in mind to allow someone to have right access to mint another. You have to have the resources on hand. You have to be able to do it. You have to be able to commit to that. Now, it could be abused. Somebody could receive a token and then they could just write 3, 4, 5, 6, as many as they want, but there can only be one that is the source of truth for authentication. So let's take these skateboards, for example. These skateboards got purchased. The NFT is not in these owners' wallets, from my understanding. They're going to be shipped the skateboard. Let's hope the shipping of that, at the price they got bought, I hope Azuki team is hand delivering these things.
Right.
Put it on record. It's the most expensive skateboard. It's the most expensive physical item backed by an NFT that's been bought. So I hope that thing is getting handled by an Azuki member, right? It's getting dropped off at people's drop locations in a proper way. There's some type of security put in place that's trusted and validated. And once that physical product is handed off, then I believe that end user gets the NFT once they scan that PBT. Now, you control the keys then at that point of that NFT. You control your keys to the wallet that holds that NFT. So if that product is damaged or stolen, I mean, this is where it gets tricky. There has to be some criteria of why you can request another, why you can print another, why you can mint another. But if you have that right access where you go onto a dApp, it reads your token, and you have the ability to increase supply, it has to invalidate the physical product, number one.
All right, so let's look at it like another use case potentially for this physical back token. One thing that came to my mind right away, you're working with a company called Equalize, EQLZ. They're one of your clients, and they're in the shoe business. They're a shoe accelerator.
Yeah.
So my thought was, wow, okay, this is pretty dope. So let's say that there's some, custom sneakers, or really in any kind of fashion, right? But for now, we'll use this example of Equalize. Let's say they put out some type of custom limited edition sneaker, and their stuff is fresh, man. First of all, I just want to put that out there. I redeemed the original NFT for the slide. The slide is fresh. This is recyclable goods that are being put into this. These guys are forward thinking. Anyways, is there a necessity? Is there a role for a physically backed token on a shoe, on a fashion forward limited edition shoe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Equalize team is absolutely smoked it. Like they came to mint at the end of July, free mint, 777 tokens. 4 weeks later, they go through a redemption process where they ship everybody a free slide made specifically for these 777 tokens. And now they're doing lore building with people in the community that is ultimately going to set the roadmap for their actual next physical shoe that they're producing in Q2. So simply by owning this free mint, you're able to pop in and be a shoe designer, a shoe creator that actually comes to market. So if you take this PBT technology to the shoe, it's much like an NFC chip. An NFC chip being put in a shoe, you scan it, and there's an interaction with your device. But with the PBT protocol, there can be an interaction with your user-controlled wallet. So now let's say this group of 777 NFTs and their owners come together and they start contributing to their Q2 shoe that they're going to drop. That's going to actually have some action on the hardwood, mind you, right? They can get serial numbered shoes 0 through 77 or 0 through 776. And as it gets shipped to them, they can claim a NFT that contributes them, credits them as a designer.
Credits them as a designer. This whole sneaker accelerator concept, I mean, for me, it hits, man. I love this as a use case for NFTs. Okay, first of all, the fact that they immediately shipped out the goods, it shows that from a production level, they already got it. They already got goodbags.eth, son. You got the token, you redeemed the token. That shit was on my doorstep within a few days. I'm wearing those slides right now, bro. I'm wearing them right now in my office. So first of all, the fact that they have the utility already built into the product. And I'm going to credit you and your team at Goodmonth Labs for advising them in the right direction. What are we doing out here with NFTs? Like, really, if you ask 100 people why they need an NFT or why they have an NFT, all of them are going to give you a different answer. And most of them, it's honestly going to be nonsense a little bit. But one thing is, for me, I'm a utility maxi. I want to see use cases of NFTs. And right away with Equalize, I was able to redeem that 6 slide that hits with a style. And now, as a token holder, I'm part of this sneaker accelerator. Now, what does that mean? TBD, I think. But the idea that I could weigh in and contribute to a product during the production process that then is really customizable, have my stamp on it, my style on it too, for what it's worth, and then also pair that with an NFT token when it ships. I mean, can you just unpack that a little bit more for us here?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the shout out, but the testament goes to the Equalize team. They started 2 years ago in China, and they've been shipping product to the Eastern Hemisphere. And they basically took a step back and they said, "Hey, I want to get into. We got to broaden our markets, but we don't want to go the standard way of just dropping into North America and just basically, being a parasite to the NBA type of marketing channels that are typical of dropping shoes and going through that rigmarole, especially with it coming off post-pandemic. They knew there was opportunity to market someone different. So they came to Goodmonth Labs and was like, "Hey, we actually want our next go-to-market plan to be the metaverse. So how do we do that?" And I think one of the crazy things about this customer is that, when they first started this, they thought it was a marketing event. Now they realize they have a proprietary community and they have ideas flowing through their Discord at rates that they would have to pay agencies on agencies to bring this type of ideation top of funnel. So it's a hydraulic that they've made, and they wanted to just share their product because the lore behind this company is a big deal. They come from Adidas. They come from the Sports Illustrated side of the world. They come from Nike. They live in China, Shanghai, Shenzhen, where these manufacturer places are, and they know people who work in these factories. And those people are miserable because they're smelling glue. Glue happens to be toxic to our environment. These chemicals are toxic to our environment. They were hell-bent on vertical integration, inspired by Elon, inspired by Jack Ma within their region. And they said, how can we make shoes vertically integrated where we can make a planet-based shoe as a founding principle, as a first principle, and then market the shoe? So this is it, man. I mean, this is one of their...
This is forward thinking. Boom. He's got him on too. He's got him on too. This is not staged, man. You're literally just chilling in your house with the equalized slide because you fuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely a consumer of user-controlled products now. I got a hat on that's user-controlled with Bird Brain. I got this Adidas sweatshirt that was the Punk's Bake G-Money collab, user-controlled. Purchased it through that Adidas, into the metaverse NFT. Got the equalized shoes on. They come apart. Why? So you can buy treads for cheap. So you don't have to replace the entire shoe, and it cuts down on manufacturing prices. These homies think of everything.
User-controlled products as a use case for NFTs. Now we're talking, baby. Now we're talking. So, moving on here off of this topic, back into the game that we played last week, NGMI. We had a call on Goblin Town. We both feel like long-term Goblin Town is going to make it. I noticed something interesting happened this week with the Probably Nothing Cup. The Probably Nothing Cup is an NFT-centric golf event 1, kicking off in San Diego on November 4th. We're excited to network with the community, touch some grass, let it bang. But I saw a little interesting tweet from Goblin Town about their participation.
They're gonna come fuck it up, and we're a little worried about it. I mean, probably Nothing Cup is a nonprofit initiative to break down the walls of NFT communities, because this bear market has put an absolute constraint on the way these NFT markets and products even thought about themselves. Everybody is so protective over their community, protective over their secondary, protective over their vision, protective over their brand. No one's opening up and just saying let's embrace each other for the culture. Let's embrace NFT holders. Why can't a Bored Ape holder be next to a CryptoPunk holder, be next to a Chimpers holder, be next to a Zed-Run Maxi? Why can't the Reddit digital collectibles come into this NFT space and all talk about what they like and be their communities? We've been this way with consumerism from the jump. We wear, different types of Nikes, different types of Adidas. We look for bespoke brands. We cross these lines, we blur these lines, we look for individuality, but for some reason in this NFT space with these project creators, they are not opening up the walls to embrace other projects. And that's the sole purpose of the Probably Nothing Cup. Fuck your turf for 1 minute and come swing a golf club, whether you like golf or not, to change the culture of golf with the spirit of NFTs and all the wackadoos that we got behind the space.
Yeah, I love to see it, man. Look, I feel like Web3, what people miss, the people who are on Twitter or Reddit being toxic, wondering when this, when that, when is this founder going to pump my bags? I've been holding these tokens. I'm down. Look, no, dude, Web3 is about the community's participation, involvement, driving the space forward. So there's things that teams have done that we rally around and we enjoy, and there's art that we appreciate and we participate in. But that's just the beginning. The next step is, what are we going to do to build upon that, to push that forward, to put our spin on it, right? And so this is why I'm so bullish on you, and this is why I'm so bullish on Goodmonth Labs, man, because we're building it, dude. A golf event, we're going to roll it out the way we think it should go down. We're going to bring NFT community members together. We invited people from Gutter Cat Gang, from Pixel Ball, from Goblin Town, honestly, like, we're open, man. We're open to collaboration and experiencing the benefits of bringing people together that have this like interest and like mind and understand that Web3 is really about us and what we're going to do next and what our next move is. And the people who understand that and rally around that are more than welcome to participate. And one way to do so is with this golf event. I'm bullish, and I'm pretty interested to see what happens with these goblins out there, man. Like, we'll keep it as a surprise, but I think you got some stuff up your sleeves here. Good month.
I mean, if you follow the Goblin Town lore, you know that the Gob Course is a thing. And you know that the Grumple's traps, with the burgers were set on hole 7. And you know that getting greedy is going to get you in trouble. So,
let's go.
That's facts, But
Let's
to your point,
go.
like you asked, episode 1, what the metaverse is, we talked about interoperable, we talked about being open. Borderless is such a big deal. And we, as NFT holders, still staying around and pioneering this culture, pioneering the technology, hanging around because we give a shit. That is important. And these borders need to be broken down. These borders need to be completely demolished. And we need to have these open communities, this open dialogue, these open spaces where people can ideate, learn, and build from. I think like we have some very stable blue chips in the space. I don't think the goal moving forward is to create more blue chips. I think the goal moving forward is to build on top of those blue chips. And if blue chip things come out of it, sure, that's great. But they're going to be segments of blue chips that we already have. And they're going to have to be a slant different than what we're looking at. There's going to be a blue chip shoe creator within the NFT space. There's going to be a blue chip device maker within the blockchain space. There's going to be a blue chip, digital marketing studio within, like, there's going to be blue chip variations and categorizations, but, everyone trying to protect their NFT collection from fading out of the blue chip space or clinging onto it. You can see through it. Like, we didn't get here by being scared. And I'd love to go into Pixel Vault's rebrand.
So my guy Goodmonth hit it on the head, dude. That's our next move here with our game of GMI or NGMI, Pixel Vault. They just hit the rebrand. They got the war chest. People, whether or not they want to believe it, they got the war chest. And we're waiting to find out what they're going to do with it. And what do they do? G-Funk and the boys, they dropped the rebrand. Inhabitants, Hazy B. Can you pull up that new website for us? We can take a look, show our guy Goodmonth, get some hot takes from him. Have you seen it yet?
G-Funk and the boys. Of course I've seen it. And everybody that doubted them is having a moment right now. It's inevitable. You can't fade them and not have a moment right now when this is going through, because all anyone has wanted is connect the storylines for us. You sold us product all last year. You got us hooked in to your ecosystem. You got us hooked in to the belief of what can be. There was rumors about being the Marvel of Web3, and then people hit a ditch and faded. You don't rumor a product as being a Web3 of Marvel and then hit a ditch and fade. You stick with it and you have hope, and they delivered. They strung it together. They put a lore together that is far beyond what anybody needed, far beyond what anybody asked for. I'm a Bake lover, and they don't have incredible lore. They have a good story with connections to serums and then beautiful roadmaps that have been delivered. A beautiful roadmap, a roadmap 2.0. That's all they needed. That's all we needed. But they deliver this. Fucking send it, bro.
Let's go, dude. Send it. I personally love the rebrand. Look, full disclosure, I got bags. I think you got some bags. But ultimately, dude, there's a reason. There's a reason why we got bags. impact because we were captured last year with the way that they took 16 crypto punks, put them in a vault, fractionalized the vault. Hell yeah, I want some of those punks token. Let me get that. Let me get out that. Okay, then we got Meta Hero. We got Mint Passes. We got Mint Pass 2. It's starting to get confusing. We got planets. What's going on? We got POW token. POW token's up. POW token's down. Is this dead? I don't know. All we know is that they got a war chest and we're waiting to see what they're going to do with it. They rebranded it. They produced this website with the storyline, the lore. I feel it. I'm straight up. I fuck with it. I feel it.
And who cares? Who cares if they're confusing? Like, I just want to break down that as FUD right now from people. Like, if they want to go at a project because it's confusing, like what you're saying is you want something straight, narrow, and simple. You want something that you can grok, that you can understand, that you can explain to people for your logic. That's not bullish. There's no upside in being straight and simple. Like, let it bang. I gave Goblin Town a GMI because they were overstretched and they're pushing themselves and they're all over the place. 3 days later, they do an AMA trying to explain to people their ecosystem. They put a image out there of how to understand their ecosystem. Honestly, the minute I saw that ecosystem, I was like, people are still going to be confused because they just don't embrace the fact that we're building airplanes in the air. We didn't put seatbelts on the airplanes. We figured out if someone could man the airplane to get it up off the ground. We didn't worry about carrying passengers. We didn't even think we were going to be able to land the thing. We got it up.
I feel you. You're right. Like, and people need those layers of context. They need that imagination window to kind of like climb through and then explore, So where is this going? This is going into a game, a DeFi game. They got their own marketplace. Like, I do see, and I just want to acknowledge the manifestations of their hard work coming to life. I'm here for it. I'm bullish on Q4 in general. There's a lot of projects that have been quietly building, and people have a problem with that. That's the reality of it, dude. People don't like it when other people who are sitting on funds are quietly building. They want to know what's going on. And, there's different levels of transparency that people are expecting and comfortable with, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, like we gotta nod our head to that. I'm here for it. I love to see it. So next one here, my guy, Pixel Vault, GMI or not gonna make it.
Jimmy, baby, Jimmy. We are GMI on them. And just on a quick take on that, like, if people want announcements and they want building and understanding that companies are growing at scale, you don't want quick announcements from people that are building big things and scaling big things. Like, you want catered to, dialed narratives. And I am bullish on rebrands. Like, projects that I'm a part of, I'm pushing them to rebrand. There's no reason why we shouldn't rebrand all NFT projects, because we started when we didn't know if we were going to make it. Now there's projects out there with enough funds that are going to make it. They really are. So rebrand it. Bullish. GMI.
Hey, GMI, I'm with you. Hey, FaXx is a rebrand.
Yeah.
FaXx is a rebrand, bro. It's like you learn, you evolve, you think, and you grow, and here we are. Okay, so I love it. Let's play one more GMI, NGMI for today. Just because, look at the conversations that this game sparks, man. It's bullish on the GMI, NGMI game right here. All right.
That's right.
Gonna make it or not gonna make it. Cool cats. No, he climbs under the hood, dude. He climbs under the hood. You want me to go? You want me to go?
I lost my headphones.
Yeah, it seems like you need a minute to collect yourself here. All right, so look, the Cool Cat story is so pure. The artist as our hero. The blue cat is just fucking epic, man. It doesn't matter like whether or not they had some hard times. Like the blue cat is epic. Where did they falter? Gosh, I had cool cats. I mean, I had a cool cat that I bought for 14 ETH. At one point, I put that cool cat on a loan, which is something that I like to do to just like unlock liquidity if I want to make a short-term trade, a short-term play. I use NFTFI, which is just like a trustless way to use smart contracts to get loans off your blue chip, quote, blue chip NFTs. I had a cool cat that I bought for 14 ETH, and it was down when I put it on for loan. It was down to like maybe 10 ETH floor. I had taken a loan of like 7 ETH on it. And man, like something happened, dude. The floor went down, things were crashing. I gave it up. It's the only NFT that I've ever defaulted on because by the time my loan was due, I wouldn't have been able to get 7 ETH for it in the marketplace. And now here we are at a floor of 2 ETH. And you can see now the logic behind that decision. You know what? I'll just keep the 7 ETH. And that looks like a good decision because now that same NFT that I had bought for 14 ETH that I capitulated at 7 ETH is probably only worth 3 ETH. So where it fell off was that they came out with the game. They came out with the game too early, in my opinion. They didn't have a sustainable token. Guess what? Token goes to zero. Milk token goes to zero. It drags down the project. It's they didn't really think about that. I don't think like it wasn't a sustainable token, and there's consequences. But in the big picture, as a brand, Cool Cats, as a project, as an ecosystem, as a game, is it going to make it or is it not going to make it? I'm gonna pass it back to you now that you've collected your thoughts.
I'm a bit bearish on cartoon-led projects. When you build in this space, you need operators, you need business folks, and you need visionaries. Like having an artist is a piece of the puzzle, but there's a lot of things that when you're cartoonist led, you don't hit the touch points for your community that is needed. I think what happened with Cool Cats, in my opinion, was a confusion of their purpose. I think they're a child focused brand. They're, I don't know the history of Hello Kitty and Sanrio. I don't know if that attached to kids and the kids grew up and they never let go of it and they just kept Hello Kitty going because it reminded them of childhood nostalgia, or if Hello Kitty was like a, launched for kids and then parents adopted it and loved it. I don't know the story there, but I feel like in order to opine on Cool Cats, I need to be a little educated there. It feels like Cool Cats just went after degens and it was the wrong demographic. I look back and I think of 21 people saying, let's fucking go, Cool Cats, chugging milk and cheersing milk. Like, is that the vibe? Is that really the vibe? Like,
they lost the script. You're saying they lost the script. They lost the identity. They didn't have the right target market. So, but what about now? Where do they go from here?
I mean, Hazy B, who's producing this podcast, he went to Cooltopia in New York. He walked through it. He said he had raving reviews. I'm looking for the chat to see if he comes through and says he wants to take any of that back. But I trust this guy with my life, and he says it fucked. So, IRL experiences, taking kids to one. I got little kids myself. I would love to take them to a Cool Cat exploration, an OMSI. I'm out in Oregon, so like, the the science institution, take them to a children's museum of cool cats. I would love that. Seeing high school kids working an NFT based museum for kids, I would love that. I would back that. I would make sure my kids found their favorite cool cat. I would buy them an NFT. That's what Cool Cats does.
No, that's facts, bro. Like, if there was a cool cat experience exhibit locally, I'd love to take my kids to it. I definitely buy the plushies. I definitely buy the blankets. I definitely be about that culture. I like it, dude. Honestly, I like the brand, and I think you nailed it on the head. The brand is not about the degens. It's not about, number go up. It's just, unfortunately, that's just really not what it comes down to here. This is what happens when you're in an unknown space. An NFT launches, you're not even sure really like what it is. In this case, it's a launch pad and almost like crowdsource funding for a brand, and the brand is good.
It's
Cool
good.
Cat's Blue Cat is fucking fire, dude. So I'm gonna say, for what it is and for what it's meant to be, GMI, man.
Yeah, so there's some perspective shifting there. Like, don't degen this thing. Don't buy this thing and root for it to go to 10 ETH. Like, watch this thing get into Happy Meals at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Watch this thing get a bid from Disney to have Cool Catopia in Disneyland. Then look at the floor of that it's at right now of 2 ETH and kick yourself for not being long.
Oh, you could have had Elmo, motherfucker. You could have had a slice of Elmo, and you let it go, slip through your fingers, because you're a DJ and you only care about number go up, man. Oh,
that's all you care about. Sesame Street, those characters. There's a ton of them. We got 10,000 blue cats. How many computer heads do we have? Not many. You could have had Elmo.
You could have had Elmo. All right, so this brings us to like I think a bigger topic, which is IP. So what just happened there is, we're bullish on the IP. How does that translate to token value and tokenomics and holder value? And I don't know, man. There's a lot there. But at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of examples in history and time, in entertainment, in everyday lives of IP being used in very interesting ways that capture people's attention, that captures their admiration, their love, their excitement. And you, my friend, have quite an assortment of IP in the Goodmonth Labs vault. So I just want to talk about that a little bit, dude. Let's dig into the vault a little bit deeper. Let's dig into the Bored Ape IP specifically, where we lead off with the Spokes Ape, Trip Summers, and maybe we'll get to kind of like dig into a little bit more of these other pieces that you have in the vault. But let's talk about Trip Summers, the Trippy Fur, Banger Ape. We're going to have Daniel Got Hits on the show, and I was messaging with him, and I was like, yo, my co-host is going to join us, and I tagged you at Goodmonth ETH, in our message, so he just could be prepared. And first thing out of his mouth was like, that's one of the sickest apes in the whole collection. So you, my friend, are in possession of one of the sickest apes and one of the sickest vaults. What are you going to do with this IP? Where does this go from here?
I mean, first of all, I'll go toe to toe with any ape in the collection with that ape. Like, it's one thing. Like, when you look at the statistical roles of these apes, like when you have rare furs that are under 100 of a 10,000 collection, the opportunity to get good rolls is really low. Like if you take a look at all the gold apes, I'm not gonna fade the gold apes. You gold ape, owners, y'all are king on the asset side of a collectible. But when you go look at how they're rolled, it's like they're a lot of them aren't, a lot of them is just not rolled. It's tough to roll. So when you look at this trippy ape, I'm just gonna say like the punk mohawk, the punk jacket, the scumbag glasses, the fact that there's a cigarette. Like this thing has a kazoo in its NGMI. Like aside from being in trippy, but it's got a cigarette. This thing has a toga and its NGMI besides being in a trippy, but it's got a punk jacket. This thing have a scumbag lens. Like if this thing had heart eyes are dope. It just doesn't fit. This thing is cohesive. And that's why I
This
traded for it.
thing, yeah, no. The Trip Summers is an NFT IP miracle.
Agree.
Okay.
And I have nothing to do with it except I just get to stare at it every day.
Right now, he lives in your wallet. He's holding it down. But look at his face, man. He's got plans, dude. This guy doesn't give a fuck what you think. This guy has got plans. And I'm bullish on whatever it is that he's thinking, to be honest with you, just looking at his face. So,
he's relaxed, bro.
So okay, we know that he's the spokes ape for Cake App, right?
FaXx.
He's a brandable image if you're putting out a product. Okay, we got that, check. But what about the experiences? What about the other side? Like, what else can we do with this IP, man? Like,
yeah,
where does this go?
So that's a take. Like IP is one of those things that it really, the cart got put before the horse in 21 when it came to IP. IP was the red pill for a lot of people. When you talk to a lot of like venture capitalists, they get Bored Ape Yacht Club because the IP. And then add that collection on the fact that like the brand went viral with Bored Ape Yacht Club. And then they're even more bullish on the IP. They're like, you own it? Like, that's crazy. Like, this thing went viral and you own it. So that's cool. Like, that's value prop number 1 plus value prop number 1B. Check mark and done. And then there are some people who have business lines that can easily scale it, right? Like Cameron Mulaney, I think is his last name, who has the film studio that has a bunch of apes that's making films with it. Like, cool, you have the connection to build that IP. If you don't have that connection, these apes and owning these IPs should have been 1 to 2 things for you. Build the business lines or find the business lines to get this IP used. And I really hope that every Bored Ape owner out there has been inspired to create business lines because of their IP. Because just think of that. Think of the power of that. You own something that happens to be pretty good in value in itself, and you are inspired by the emotion that's evoked by that token to go build something. That's kind of like it's cheesy, but that's kind of like the American dream. That's the brand of the American dream, but for Web3, for not just America. Like,
yeah, it seeds innovation.
Yeah.
It fuels creativity. It's like, man, like I love it for the culture. And so, my proposal is like as we move forward here and we do this podcast and we work on other projects that we're building, my proposal is that we continuously develop the Trip Summers experience. I think we get artists involved. Maybe we can source this from the community on Twitter, the people who are engaging with this podcast online. Um, we recruit and kind of decentralize to some degree some of the creative process and we build towards a greater experience, that people who maybe are not in a position, which most people are not in a position to own an ape like Trip Summers, but they can still be part of that experience. They can still be part of that brand. They can contribute to that brand. Like, I feel like this is a direction for Web3. And I think, there's some benefits to being early. And one of those benefits is being in this position to kind of like offer that up, offer that opportunity to the community. What does that look like? I think for now it looks like an idea and it looks like participation. And we'll see, we'll see how people take to that. But like, I'd like to push you to be one of the people who takes the IP, especially considering how sick it is, to kind of like that next level and experiment. So if
Yeah.
you look at my Twitter, FaXx_ETH, follow me on Twitter. If you see me, I want to hear your ideas. If you look at my Twitter, I got on there experimental ventures at Goodmonth Labs, which it kind of like means everything and nothing at the same time. Let's just get into Goodmonth Labs a little bit. Why? Because I want to get behind the veil. I want to get into your mind a little bit and pick your brain as a founder. Okay, so just to rewind, you have 10 years experience in tech, in cybersecurity. You are in a DGen and bet on Ethereum. You bet on Bored Apes. You cashed into some ape coin and you took the leap, man. You're doing it, dude. You're living the fucking dream the way I see it. You started up a company in Web3. It's your project. And I'm seeing behind the scenes, man, like you're freaking on one, dude. Like you are not taking, any days off. You're just pushing it and making things happen. And really, more than anything, like the biggest takeaway I've had so far is like you want to ship, man. You want to ship products and you want to get out there. So first of all, my first question for you is like, what is this mindset about? Like, let's just ship product. Let's not get stuck. Let's keep moving forward. Like, talk to that a little bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, I used to want to be the smartest person in the room. I studied philosophy in my undergrad to be the smartest person in the room, and you quickly realize that's an NGMI strategy. You got to be the dumbest person in the room, and to be the dumbest person in the room, you got to take big risks, and you got to be willing to put it out there and make the ask. And I I I've been in my tech experience, I've sat in rooms where it's just stifled with indecision. It's stifled with fear. It's questions like, if we do this, what will people think of my brand? And first principles thinking leads you to do it and then hear what people think about your brand. But when you pull the linchpin on those type of grenades, people are always worried about the blowback on themselves. They're always worried about the ego that will get damaged as collateral damage, right? And I think that's something that's so great about you, experimental ventures. Like, I don't care what you're saying on Twitter or what you're doing, or like, you're exploring. The way I look at it, every single day you show up to Twitter to challenge people, to ask the questions, to learn. You're not engagement farming, you're mining for the next wave. You're mining to see where people are going to be. And that's what Goodmonth Labs is all about. Is we pitch ourselves as a company that's at the top of the ideation funnel that creates products for the next wave. We're not sexy now. We're not sexy in the moment. We'll be sexy in 3 to 6 months when the next wave comes, if we position it right. But in order to be there, you gotta take hacks.
Yeah, you gotta shoot your shot. Shooters shoot, and it is kind of like scary, right? And it's normal for someone to worry about that. Like, well, what are people going to think? But I think it's more important to like send it and keep pushing, keep challenging yourself, keep challenging your team, take the feedback, understand it, process it, keep it moving. You got a lot going on. Um, you know, for somebody who has been thinking about like, gosh, I'd really like to spend more of my professional time in Web3. I've learned about it, and but I'm worried because crypto is down and like NFTs are down, and we're in this bear market and the macros are just a mess. Like it sounds so risky. Number one, like why do you feel comfortable taking this kind of risk with your time and your capital? And number two, like what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's kind of like just feeling that out still?
Yeah. I mean, I'm motivated by the next wave. Like, I got in cybersecurity in 2013, and no one knew that was a sexy industry. And then breaches started to happen. And then all of a sudden, it became a sexy industry, right? Web3 was sexy to us degens, but it's not sexy to the rest of the world. They don't give a shit about Web3, but it will be sexy. In 4 to 5 years, it will be extremely sexy. So that's why I'm motivated. I'm motivated to get in industries before they pop off. That's why I'm comfortable investing my time, my money, not taking salary and continuing to network and make connections, because I know worst comes to worst. Like worst comes to worst, I can go interview for another job somewhere in if something were to not work out, but things will work out. I will GMI. Goodmonth Labs will GMI. So that won't even be a thing. But there's always those, those are those fail safes you can have.
So you have kind of like a fearless mentality.
Because I'm motivated for the story. Like stories is everything to me. So it's like, if you're going to go out and do something with your life, if you're going to push process at a Web2 company that keeps you comfortable for 10 years, if that's the story you want, then stick with it. That story makes me want to puke. But that's me.
You want to write the story.
I want a good story.
Yeah. And another good month.
I want a long story. Is that too bullish? Like people, if people are listening and they're like, man, I want to, but I'm scared. That's okay. Like it's scary. You have to have some, and I want this to be a topic for our next show, is like incentive structures. Like Web3's gonna align to people's incentive structures. It's going to. And so in order for you to to be motivated to take things, it has to align with your incentive structure. Like, why are you on this podcast? Why are you doing what you're doing for Goodmonth Labs? There's something aligned with your incentive structure to do this. If it's not, if it's not aligned with your incentive structure to compete on your job and join Web3, then then do you.
Yeah, and I would say for people listening in who've spent some time, whether they're early to new to NFTs or they've been around for a while, and maybe they're the bear market's taking a toll, they're having doubts, what to do next, this kind of thing. Like, here's the thing. One of the most amazing things about Web3 is the opportunity for collaboration, the opportunity to network. When people talk about networking, it's not just like a buzzword. Like, you have the opportunity today to, by virtue of holding an NFT, being aware of an NFT, joining a community of people who also are curious, who also are bullish on this concept of decentralization. And you have the opportunity to network with those people. Now, what are you going to do with that? TBD. You don't have to know yet. If you don't know yet, That's perfectly okay. But what I recommend and I suggest that people do is that they make their presence felt in a positive light in the communities that they find interesting, that they vibe with. Build that network, open those lines of communications up, and then eventually, someday, it will, like a light bulb, go off in your head like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to build this. I want to participate in that. And guess what? All of that networking that you did and those connections that you made, that is all very bullish for whatever you're working on. Because those people, if they really believe that you're there for the right reasons, they're gonna fucking have your back, man. They're gonna help you. And if they don't, that doesn't need to be part of your story. But that's our story. That's my story. I'm on Twitter ranting and raving. I do it for fun, but I also do it because I love it. I'm passionate about Web3. I'm passionate about where this space is going. I feel like we're super early. And along the way, like, I've made certain connections and met certain people, and you're one of those people. And this is a perfect example of taking social identity. You met me as an avatar on the internet.
Facts. All I knew about you at the time, you were Hammer Z, and all I knew about you at the time was you bought into the apes, and you were up on Twitter Spaces spitting your emotion. That's all I knew. But this is a crucial take, because it's a big deal, because typically it takes 20 takes for someone to brand themselves, to get a foothold in someone's mind. It takes 20 takes. Like, it takes 20 times talking to them, 20 times them coming across the email, 20 times them coming across Twitter, 20 times being on Twitter Spaces, 20 times for the average human mind to be like, I get what this person is about and what this person stands for. But shooters shoot. And that was one take. I heard one take from you, and I was like, I'm gonna follow this guy. Right? There's and you shot
One
your
take
shot
Timmy.
One take Timmy. One take Timmy. And so some people, like, it's just a reminder that, like, I've been shut out so much by people, even in Web3. Like, they just, like, you ping them, they don't care. You ping them again, they don't care. You come across them in Twitter Spaces, like, they don't remember you. You ping them again, they don't care. You tweet something and they're like, oh man, we should talk. It's the grind. You got to keep branding yourself. You got to keep taking your shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And my thing with Twitter is, like, if people, like, the people who I want to engage with on Twitter and the people who I want to reply to and chat with, they're the people who are engaged. They're the people who are like, hey, I'm going to shoot my shot too.
Totally.
You want to show me your art? I'm going to fucking look at your art. I'm good with that. Obviously, we all have time limitations and so forth, but it's kind of, like, amazing, the concept. Never in my life have I felt like social media was kind of, like, open like this. When you think about Instagram, it's just people flexing, man. Here's my fucking watch. Here's my fucking car. Here's my house. Look what I just did in my kitchen. Here's my family. Okay, that's cool. I'm happy for you. You made it. Now what, dude? Now what? How about this? How about, hey, I'm out here. We have resources. We got ideas. You're out here. You have resources and ideas. Let's collaborate. Even if you don't have resources, bro, leverage off our resources, dude.
Yeah.
We're truly about this, and I think that's what brought us together. And we're fucking letting it bang, man, out here. Like, I don't know if that sounds weird, but we're about this life, and I'm happy for it. And I really encourage people to utilize this opportunity and stop worrying about floor prices and start worrying about their engagement and kind of, like, how can they build and create.
Hook in. Like, hook in. We sent a batshit email to somebody, and we got a response 60 days later. And maybe episode 4, we get to announce what it is. But we took a batshit shot, and it worked.
Love to see it, man. Look, I think we dove into some pretty interesting topics today. I wanted to talk also about our Rumble Kongs club 824.eth that we collaborate on, but I think we'll save it for next episode because I want to give it its due time and attention. Look, man, I appreciate the long takes today. I think people should be able to air out their mind. So before we cut it today, Goodmonth, any kind of departing words out here?
Bags packed for Q4. ETH crossed 100-day moving average as of today. TradFi looks at 200-day moving averages. We're a nascent new space. We're post-merge. I feel bullish. Cryptocurrencies getting adopted by Fidelity on Friday for their clients. UK Prime Minister's got a basket of crypto. They bless BTC. Yo,
you're feeling those tingles, huh?
I'm
Is
feeling
it coming
these
back?
tingles.
Is it coming back?
Dude, I mean, I was feeling it for about the last 2 months that like capitalists were ready to pack the bag. The recession goalposts in our macro market are getting moved. If no one's noticed, those goalposts are going to keep getting moved until we're like, they are like the US macro markets say, don't fade us. They say like, you can call it a recession. We're not going to call it that. They're not going to accept the word recession.
I don't accept it. You know, and the other thing is like markets, equity markets, they price in stuff way into the future.
There's there's so many dark things priced in right now. I don't even want to put it out there, the negativity of that, but there are so many dark things priced in right now.
Yeah, so
it's going up. I'll call bottom.
Oh, he's calling bottom on the show. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's go. I think that's all I need to hear today. I'm having the rest of October fucking set. Q4, I'm feeling it too. I think that'll do it. Never fade the NFT podcast. Never fade Goodmonth Labs. Never fade Hazy B, our producer.
Never fade Hazy B. Never fade FaXx_E. We'll see you next week, folks.
Well, Dex is in chat. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Shoo!
RP got that heartbeat. Bridge built to the swamp, now the apes are barking. Picking up bananas like you ever heard a cat laughing. They on time sweeping. What's left? Got a red disease, call it out of weight. Headed down from the treehouse where the floor apes mate. Banging on the door for Ghana to let us in. Wi-Fi rotated, new pin, 8-pin. Checking the collections in the trace all copped. Homage is non-stop, the colors all pop. Admiral Code Devil horns don't miss. Yellow BG with the floor skin hits. Let's get it.